Welcome to another trip report. Today I'll be flying from Kuala Lumpur to Penang with Malaysia Airlines on MH 1148, a short 30-minute domestic hop operated by a Boeing 737-800 aircraft. I had just arrived at KLIA from Hong Kong, and I'm making a very short 1-hour connection. I was so lucky I got to make that connection and didn't miss my connecting flight. This is my aircraft for today, a 2011 built 737-800 with registration 9MFFF. It was originally delivered to Firefly, the sister airline of Malaysia Airlines, before being transferred into the mainline MH fleet. Fun fact for y'all, Firefly Airlines, the sister airline of Malaysia Airlines, actually operated a fleet of 737s in 2011. They shortly discontinued the service after only a few months of operation. As a result, all of their 737s were transferred into the mainline MH fleet, including this one.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Thank you.
Yep.
Untuk melepas dan sebelum mendarat, sebagai peringatan indah penerbangan Malaysia Airlines MH 1488 ke Pulau Pinang, dan ini juga lah penerbangan bebas rokok. Terima kasih. Announcement: ensure your hand carried items are securely stored in your weight compartment. Small items such as laptop bags and handbags may be placed under the seat except at the emergency exit area and must be properly secured.
This Malaysia Airlines 737 is equipped with 16 business class seats and 144 economy class seats, making 160 seats in total. The flight was pretty empty, with the aircraft being roughly only 30 to 40% full.
Warm welcome on our flight MH 1148 to Penang. Also very warm welcome to our SP Enrich One World Frequent Flight members. I'm Rashid, your cabin crew in charge. This flight to Penang will take 30 minutes. Call us if you need any assistance. Meanwhile, relax and enjoy our amazing hospitality.
As you can tell, this aircraft is pretty old. It's one of the oldest in the MH fleet. It still wears the old MH livery, which I'm a huge fan of, don't get me wrong. Because it's one of the oldest in the fleet, it is not equipped with in-flight entertainment screens on each seat. Therefore, the safety video was played on overhead screens located around the cabin.
Ladies and gentlemen, your safety is very important to us at Malaysia Airlines, so please listen carefully as we take you through some important safety features specific to this aircraft, as it may differ from other types of aircraft. Put your baggage in the overhead compartments or under the seat in front of you. It's important to keep the aisles and exits clear. All electronic devices must be switched off during taxi, takeoff and landing. If you have to use an evacuation slide, remove your heels as they may tear the slide. Leave all your belongings. Move quickly to the nearest exit and jump on the slide. Move away from the aircraft when you reach the ground. In the event of a water landing, life raft will be launched. Be seated as it separates from the aircraft. In the event of
This was filmed in March 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic has just started. Most of these aircraft have already been grounded. As you can see here, there are endless 737s from Malaysia Airlines and Malindo Air parked at the main terminal building in KLIA. Some of them are getting ready for their next flights, but a lot of them have already been grounded. Back in March, we were starting to know how aviation could be affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, but little did we know back then that it would last this long and have such a large-scale impact. It was beyond anybody's imagination. was such a sad sight for me. As we were taxiing out to the runway for takeoff, we passed by a lot of grounded narrow bodies and wide bodies, all of them just sitting idle at KLIA waiting for their next departure. Here we have two of Malaysia Airlines' A330-300s. During normal times, they would be sent on medium-haul routes to Australia and Japan, but thanks to COVID and most international borders closed, they are sitting idle at KLIA. After a powerful takeoff from KLIA, we were on our way to the beautiful island of Penang. The aircraft took off on time at 1:50 on the dot. This flight to Penang will take exactly 35 minutes. At a little over half an hour, this flight is one of the shortest I've ever been on. I've flown on this route before, when I was very young. Back then, my ride to Penang was a 737-400, an older derivative of the 737. I still remember how the crew did the safety demo live, as there were no screens on board, not even overhead ones on that 20-year-old plane. I still remember a stewardess standing in front of me doing the safety demo. She was showing us the life jacket, and I was wondering why the life jacket didn't inflate. The seats were also super colorful, and I remember the impression that it gave me as a very, very young little kid boarding a plane was that it was so beautiful and it looked like a rainbow. Despite the old plane, I had such a memorable flight. It was my first ever domestic flight. I'm so glad I had the chance to fly on a 737-400. It's such an old plane and not many people have the chance to fly on it. So flying this old liveried 737-800 to Penang really brought back memories from that first ever domestic flight of mine.
Untuk keselamatan anda, pastikan tali keleda Stephanie pasang dan baju dengan kapal, terutama ketika cuaca yang kurang baik dan yang tidak dijangka. Untuk haluan anda, alat elektronik yang kecil boleh menyebabkan kebakaran sekiranya jatuh di sudut yang pandai. Sila hubungi kami untuk bantuan. Ini adalah penerbangan bebas rokok, hidangan ringan akan dinyatakan sebentar lagi. Sebelum itu nikmati layanan bus tapi terima kasih. Ladies and gentlemen, the seatbelt sign has been switched off and for safety in case of any unexpected turbulence, please ensure your seatbelt is fastened and visible to our crew. You may use your electronic devices that have been switched to flight mode. However, small electronic devices can become potential fire hazard if they slip or drop in between seats. Please call any member of our crew for assistance. As a reminder, this is a non-smoking flight. Light refreshment will be served shortly. In the meantime, sit back and relax. Enjoy our flight. Thank you.
The refreshment service started shortly after takeoff. Malaysia Airlines' signature salted peanuts and some orange juice were offered on this short flight. The friendly stewardess even gave me extra peanuts. The short 35 minutes flew by, and before we knew it, it was time to land.
Jika anda dikendaki keluar semasa kecemasan, tinggalkan semua barang kemudian anda dan pergi ke pintu yang berdekatan. Tandas tidak lagi boleh digunakan pada masa ini. Ladies and gentlemen, as a final preparation for landing, please ensure your seats are in upright position and your chair tables and footrests are stowed. Kindly ensure your seatbelts are securely fastened and visible to our cabin crew. If an emergency evacuation becomes necessary, leave all your personal belongings behind and proceed to the exit nearest to you. The lavatory may no longer be used at this time, and thank you for observing smoking restriction.
Many people dread flying on these old 737s of Malaysia Airlines with no in-flight entertainment, but for me, I was hoping to get one of these during my trip to Penang. On this old liveried aircraft really reminds me of some of my flights in the past. Not only that 737-800 domestic flight, but also the old 777s and 747s that I used to fly a lot between KL and Hong Kong. In my opinion, these old aircraft with no in-flight entertainment systems are okay and bearable for flights less than 1 hour within Malaysia. Lack of in-flight entertainment on this aircraft was completely fine, as it was just a 35-minute flight and I wouldn't have enough time to use it anyways. Plus, the seat was super comfortable. But I really do hope MH will not send these on international flights or flights longer than 1 hour. So here we are on approach to the beautiful island of Penang. Please enjoy the rest of the landing, and I will give you the verdict after we land.
Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, kita telah berada dalam terbang Sebuah Pinang. Bagi tujuan keselamatan, anda dikehendaki berada pada duduk sehingga syarat pasangkan tali keleda dipadamkan dan pesawat berhenti sepenuhnya. Berhati-hati ketika mampu ke ruang penyimpanan di atas. Pastikan semua barangan kepentingan anda telah diambil. Anda dibenarkan memasang telefon bimbit selepas tali syarat pasangkan tali keleda dipadamkan. Waktu tuan-tuan adalah 2.34 minit petang dan suhunya laporkan sebagai 30 darjah Celsius. Kapten Lokman Hadi dan anak-anak kapal bocah terima kasih kerana memilih Malaysia Airlines yang merupakan ahli One World. Kami menghargai kedatangan anda. Kerana mematuhi larangan merokok, semoga bertemu lagi dalam penerbangan yang akan datang. Salam hormat dan jumpa lagi. Ladies and gentlemen, we have landed at Penang National Airport. It is a safety requirement that you Remain seated until the aircraft comes to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign has been switched off. Do be careful whenever you open the main compartment. Kindly ensure you do not leave any of your personal items behind. You may use your mobile phones up to the seatbelt sign is switched off. It is 34 minutes past 2 in the afternoon and the temperature 30 degrees Celsius. Captain Lukman Hadi and rest of the crew would like to thank you for choosing Malaysia Airlines, a member of One World Alliance. We look forward to seeing you and thank you for observing this movie restriction, and we wish you a pleasant afternoon in Penang.
Welcome to Penang. The flight on Malaysia Airlines was fantastic. We departed on time and arrived ahead of schedule. The crew on this flight were amazing. They were friendly, they were helpful, they were cheerful. One of them even helped a passenger lift their bags up into the overhead compartment, as seen during boarding in this video, which is not part of their job scope. And despite the short flight, the crew carried out their service efficiently with a warm smile. We even took some photos with the crew before leaving the aircraft. The photos will be put at the end of this video. Salted peanuts and orange juice were offered, and that is more than enough for this short flight. The aircraft operating this flight was spotless, and despite the lack of in-flight entertainment, the seat was super comfortable. As this flight was very short, the lack of in-flight entertainment was not an issue. But the only complaint I have is how hot the cabin was during boarding. Aside from that, the rest of the flight was amazing. I had yet another wonderful flight with Malaysia Airlines. Have you been on Malaysia Airlines before? Have you ever been on a domestic flight before? Comment your answers in the comment section below. I'd really love to hear from you guys.
Cabin crew, this is a mobile send question.
Here are some of the photos I took with the crew on this flight, and if you're one of the crew on this flight and you're watching this video, thank you so much. Thanks so much for the wonderful Malaysian hospitality. Thanks for the service. Thanks for taking pictures with me. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Tell me what I need to improve or what you want to see in a future video. Thank you so much for watching.